Welcome to the Community Health Heroes Show, where we spotlight local organizations that provide much needed health and wellness resources and information so that everyone in our community can strive to live healthier, happier, and longer lives. I'm Dr. Penny Walker, Senior Medical Director for United Healthcare Southeast Region. Today on Community Health Heroes, we'll be talking with Jennifer Macias with Greater New Orleans Breastfeeding Awareness Coalition, who will talk about the benefits of breastfeeding. Dr. Sarah Stender, pediatrician with Children's Hospital New Orleans, who will talk about what parents can do to help prevent childhood obesity. And Executive Chef Lenny Martinson, a center plate catering at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, who will show us how to prepare healthy and delicious game day dishes on today's Eat Fit NOLA cooking segment. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more Community Health Heroes.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Community Health Heroes. According to the World Health Organization, if every child was breastfed within 1 hour of birth, given only breast milk for the first 6 months of life, and continued breastfeeding for up to the age of 2 years, about 800,000 children's lives would be saved every year. Joining us to discuss the benefits of breastfeeding and the support and resources you can find right here in our community is Jennifer Macias, Executive Director of the Greater New Orleans Breastfeeding Awareness Coalition. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me today.
So can you tell me about the benefits of breastfeeding?
There are many benefits of breastfeeding for both mom and for child. Research shows that there are decreased risk of ear infection, stomach upset, asthma, obesity, and even diabetes in children. And the benefits for mother, research shows that there's a decreased risk for diabetes, postpartum depression, breast cancer, and ovarian cancer.
That's an awful lot of benefits there.
Yes, and there's a whole long list of them, but those are really the top important ones.
Those are really good reasons to breastfeed. So can you tell me a little bit about if a woman has difficulty initiating breastfeeding, or along the way she's breastfeeding and she's not as successful as she'd like to be, what can she do?
A pregnant woman should really attend some breastfeeding classes while she is pregnant, and she can even go to local Leche League and support groups and see how other women have dealt with issues and really hear about the positive stories about breastfeeding and get her acclimated to that. While she's in the hospital, the lactation nurses are wonderful. So they're a huge resource, and I encourage moms to just ask as many questions as possible while they're in the hospital. And once they leave the hospital, the relationship doesn't end there. They can still call the lactation nurses to get more information if they have questions or run into problems. But really, a mom should surround herself with a good support system with breastfeeding. There's the Leche League and so many other breastfeeding support groups, especially in our area.
Is there a specific age when a woman should stop breastfeeding?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question. So in our society, people feel that there is. However, the World Health Organization recommends breastfeeding a child exclusively for the first 6 months, and then for at least until the age 2 and beyond. It's really until the mom and baby have a mutual agreement to stop breastfeeding. The worldwide average for a child to naturally wean is 4.2 years old. So that really says a lot. I guarantee your child is not going to be breastfeeding when they graduate from high school. So it's a natural process, and it's really up to mom and baby or mom and child to see when they would want to stop.
Okay, that's a very good answer, and I think we get asked that a lot. And then at your workplace, what if you really can't find a private, clean area? I mean, a lot of times they'll say, we'll just go in the bathroom and pump. What if you can't find a clean area that's private at your workplace?
It's important for the mom to open that conversation before she does leave for maternity leave. The federal law states that a employer has to provide time and space other than a restroom for the employee to pump milk. So it's important to open that discussion before the mom goes out on maternity leave. And if the mom doesn't feel comfortable, we have local resources. The Tulane Mary Amelia Center has a workplace program in place, and if the mom doesn't feel comfortable talking to her supervisor, then they will contact the supervisor and kind of help get things going. And also the Louisiana Breastfeeding Coalition will also help. Those are both two excellent resources in the New Orleans area to get that conversation started.
Now, you gave an awful lot of resources. Is there kind of like a one-stop shop if our audience wanted to find what's the one best place, or how would we find all these different resources you mentioned?
At the Greater New Orleans Breastfeeding Awareness Coalition, we have a resource page on our website that has links to everything. So the Louisiana Breastfeeding Coalition, workplace, local breastfeeding support groups, lactation nurses, so we're kind of a catch-all for resources.
Great, and then so that would also lead you into like Leche and other breastfeeding organizations for more information.
Yes, and also information about the breastfeeding laws and where to get help with that if there's a complaint or anything like that. So.
Great. So Jennifer, are there laws specific to Louisiana that will protect women when they're breastfeeding in public?
Yes, there are. The Louisiana state law says that a woman is allowed to breastfeed in public or in a private establishment with or without a cover without breaking any indecency laws. The Greater New Orleans Breastfeeding Awareness Coalition, along with all of the other local state coalitions, have collaborated together, and we have relaunched our Breastfeeding Welcome Here project, in which we go to local businesses, restaurants, any local business to educate them about the breastfeeding law, both for their patrons and for their employees as well, so that moms can feel more comfortable breastfeeding in public and not have someone come up and tell them, you can't do this, you have to leave. No one can tell a mom that she has to go in the restroom to breastfeed or isolate them in a private area of the restaurant. So if someone complains that a woman is breastfeeding at a restaurant or in public anywhere, the right thing to do is for the manager to go and educate the person complaining about the breastfeeding law and offer to move them to an area where they're comfortable, but to never approach the mom because it is her right to breastfeed, and she's not breaking any indecency laws.
And how would you know, like, if a restaurant was breastfeeding welcome?
When the restaurant signs the pledge stating that they will be supportive of breastfeeding mothers and for their employees, they will sign a pledge, and we will put their information on our website.
Okay, so you can actually go to places that are very supportive of breastfeeding.
Yes, and they will also have a window cling inside their door, their front window, that says breastfeeding welcome here.
Well, that's great. Those are fabulous information for our public. Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing this valuable information with us today. When we come back, we'll be speaking with Dr. Sarah Stender of Children's Hospital New Orleans. So don't go away, there's more Community Health Heroes.
Sometimes life throws you something unexpected, but the Breeze Dream Foundation and United Way are giving both individuals and businesses a chance to help folks in our region. You can be the one to help those in need, weather their personal storms, both large and small. You can be the one to help others rebuild their lives and get back in the game. Because when you give, amazing things happen. So step up and be the next one.
Find out how you can help at thenextonesela.org.
Did you know that about 1 in 3 American kids and teens are overweight or obese, nearly triple the rate in 1963? Join us today to talk about what you can do to help prevent childhood obesity and keep your kids healthy is Dr. Sarah Stender, a pediatrician with Children's Hospital New Orleans. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Stender.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. I'm happy to be here.
So can you tell me exactly what is childhood obesity?
Childhood obesity is defined by our growth charts for our children. They're not little adults, and so in adults, when we talk about obesity, we have concrete numbers, 25 to 30, 30 to 35 for a body mass index. But for children, we talk in percentiles. Now, what is the body mass index? That is the weight of the child divided by that child's height squared. So if we have a child whose height divided whose weight divided by the height squared is getting higher in the 85th to 95th percentile, that is the condition of being overweight. If the body BMI is greater than the 95th percentile, then they are obese. Many of the children that we see now are far above the 95th percentile and frighteningly above the chart completely, not even falling on the body mass index chart.
Right.
So we do, as I said, have to look in terms of percentiles. For instance, if a 4-year-old has a body mass index of 17, that is at the cusp of becoming overweight. If a 17 or 18-year-old has a body mass of 17, or an adult, that means that that individual is underweight. So that's why in pediatrics we talk in terms of those percentiles instead of in terms of absolute numbers.
Okay. Now, isn't the obesity in children, isn't that related to diabetes and heart disease?
Obesity in children can lead to both of those diseases, and what we're talking about actually is type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is a very, very different disease. Does that mean that an obese child cannot have type 1? No, it doesn't, but that's a much more complex medical answer for the program that we're focusing on this morning. But type 2 diabetes is a frighteningly and alarmingly evident disease in children now, one that when I came first from medical school, we really never saw in a child. In the last 10 or so years, 15, 30, the incidence of obesity has tripled, and the incidence of type 2 diabetes in children has gone up at least tenfold. First, non-existent, to in the 90s, maybe 1 or 2 cases diagnosed, and these were really anomalies, and now we're seeing it more and more. Often I'll have a child referred to me who is obese, who is already in the pre-diabetic condition, or needing to be on insulin, in fact.
And how does obesity lead to heart disease?
Obesity leads to heart disease because obesity is a condition of chronic inflammation. And for each pound we have of weight, we have about a mile of blood vessels. So if you think of the inflammation, it's occurring primarily inside the blood vessel, that's that much more inflammation in the child's body. So that's how we have thickening of the insides of the arteries. We call that in medical terms intima-medial thickness of the arteries, and we know that these arteries become stiffer and they become thickened. But the other thing is the process of becoming obese is a very unhealthy one. And many of our children are eating foods such as high fructose corn syrup, and this substance in particular, as well as all the saturated fats, will cause a substance called plaque to develop within the arteries. And right here in the state of Louisiana, in the Bogalusa heart study, which was done in the early 90s, it was discovered that children as young as 4 already had plaque in their arteries. A very, very horrifying discovery.
Absolutely.
And so we know that the origins of the heart attack and the stroke are occurring in our tiniest children. Why is that? Well, because our children are exposed to less healthy foods. They're eating a lot of processed foods. I'm not going to bash any one fast food place, but the fast food places have processed food that it usually is of poor quality. The meat that the children eat from these places is meat that has come from animals which are corn-fed, they're not grain-fed, and so even the quality of the meat itself is less, it's not as good as it was years ago when we had farmers and farm animals that were living on the open plains. So we're living in a very, very processed sort of world. So I hope that answers the question, how obesity leads to heart disease. But heart disease is still the #1 killer worldwide of all people. It's horrific when we think about it because there are other diseases that we're talking about funding for research. There's cancer, there's HIV/AIDS, all of these other diseases that we hear about. But obesity itself has now been classified as a disease, and that's a good thing, I believe, because it does lead to the #1 killer of people worldwide, and especially Americans. There's another food substance that leads to this too, that obese people, as well as thin people, eat a lot of, and that is salt. And I don't know if you'd like to talk about salt now in cardiovascular disease, but that is really an integral part of this process, as well as the fat in the arteries. It's also the salt that people take in and causing the high blood pressure.
Well, I understand that if we don't change our behavior by 2025, we'll have 70 million obese children. What can a family do as a family to help change this pattern?
the family is exactly where we need to begin. And I think the first thing is to tell families not to feel guilty. I know that many families don't want to address the problem. They think that their children are happy and that they're happier giving them processed food. Families are living very crazy, busy lives right now. But the family is actually the heart of where the child's food, the child's sleep, and sleep is important in preventing obesity and type 2 diabetes, and we can talk about that later too. But really in establishing patterns for a family, the family dinner table itself is extremely important, not only with regard to the quality of food that's put on the table, but with regard to the quality of the dynamic of the parents and the children interacting with one another and really connecting. I've followed this in my own personal life, people my age have, because I remember the advent of the TV dinner tray. And that is when children started families not focusing on each other, but focusing on the media. Mm-hmm. So families are critical in this. Of course, the obesity starts with the child, then it goes to the family, and we need family-focused attention, and then it goes to the school, because once the child is in the school, that is, as I call it, the workplace of the child. Mm-hmm. That's where many of our children, especially the ones without as many resources, are eating both breakfast and lunch, and sometimes in extended daycare programs, they're even eating their suppers, because they're coming from dual income working families who are really having a very, very hard time putting food on the tables for their children and their families. So we need to focus on the food, and fortunately with President Obama's wife, Michelle, she is really focused on this. She kicked off her campaign for healthy eating and healthy activity right here in the city of New Orleans, and she's really tried to help us with the food program, the national food program. Of course, locally we could have worked with foods of minimal nutritional value, which many communities did, and I did when I was in the state of Tennessee with the state government. Mm-hmm. But to be able to go to a federal level with this, it's wonderful. As you said, though, families are the most important, and that's where it starts, with regard to prevention as well as with regard to treatment of the obesity itself.
And Dr. Stenner, if our audience wanted to find more information on childhood obesity and maybe some recipes or some resources, where would they go for that? Oh,
there's an abundance of material on this. You could probably Google just about anything on childhood obesity or healthy recipes. There are lots of magazine articles. I wrote an article about 10 years ago on this, and I ended it with the fact that we as healthcare providers need to provide hope for the families. If we don't believe they can change, they will not believe that either. So you must believe that even though the odds seem to be against you, that you really can change, that you can get out, you can play, you can eat at home with your family, you can eat nutritious foods, and that you can get healthier and prevent terrible disease from happening.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Stenner. Coming up next, we'll be in the kitchen with Executive Chef Lenny Martinson of Center Plate Catering at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome when he joins us for our Eat Fit NOLA cooking segment. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more Community Health Heroes.
I'm Molly Kimball, registered dietitian with Oxnard's Elmwood Fitness Center. We've collaborated with more than 60 local restaurants to create Eat Fit NOLA, a partnership that highlights the better for you items right there on a restaurant's menu, making it effortless for you to dine at your favorite New Orleans restaurant without ditching your otherwise healthy diet. Every month, the Community Health Heroes Show will shine a spotlight on one of our city's incredible chefs who will show you how you can make healthier choices when dining at theirs or any of our city's great restaurants. So don't go away, Community Health Heroes will be right back.
How do we show our gratitude for our active duty military and veterans? The Disposable Heroes Project is a nonprofit organization serving all branches of the military and their families. Their mission is to recognize, honor, and support our veteran and active duty personnel in any form of assistance they may need. Visit dhproject.org now and donate or purchase merchandise to show your support. dhproject.org. It's your turn to serve.
Welcome back. Joining us for today's Eat Fit NOLA cooking segment is Executive Chef Lenny Martinson of Center Plate Catering at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Chef Lenny will show us how to prepare healthy game day concessions that you can enjoy while watching the Saints either in the Superdome or at home. Welcome to the show, Chef Lenny.
Our pleasure, my pleasure to be here.
And well, thank you so much for being here. So what are you making for us today?
Well, one of the things that we want to do here at Centerplate is at the Superdome, everybody thinks Superdome, they think it's stadium food, hot dogs, hamburgers, and nachos. But we really do listen to our guests, and people are looking for healthy alternatives. And it's not like in the old days, well, oh, healthy, this stuff is really good.
And pretty.
And it's stadium food, but stadium food with a healthy twist. So that's what Molly and I want to do, is we want to share this with everybody and say this is an exciting time to be at the stadium. There's something for everyone.
So what are you going to make for us
Well,
today?
what I want to show
really
you
cool.
is one of our dishes that we're serving now in our stand called Market Fresh is we're doing an Asian chopped salad, which is nothing more than we have it, as I turn on the grill here, and what we have bok choy, we have cabbage, and a little bit of coleslaw. You can see it, just basically just some greens. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to take some tuna, and you can buy this at the store, but we have it crusted with sesame, which is very good for you. And we have a little bit of olive oil, not a lot. And what you do is hear that sizzle? You want to let it sizzle because you want to make it nice and hot. Because the secret to tuna is you want it nice and rare, because that's what brings all the flavor out. So we're going to let that cook. And in the meantime, when we have this, in this bowl here, I have bamboo shoots, water chestnuts, and some fresh pineapple. I'm just going to put that right in there. And then we have a special salad dressing, which is a ginger vinaigrette, which again, partnering with our local, a local company called Swags and Molly's team at Oxnard, we're taking that. And what you're seeing is, it's not a whole lot of dressing, because gone are the days when you had a salad dressing, and what did you taste? The salad dressing, and you didn't taste the salad. And you just want a light coating. So what we do is we have it nice and coated there. Now you can see this tuna is starting to brown. We're going to flip this over, and we let that sit. We're going to let it go on that side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the salad, it's nice and toasted, and we're just going to put this right in here. You see it's got color, it's got texture, it's got texture. And we're going to put this down in the secret hideaway.
It's like you had said before the show, it's not like you're eating a bunch of sprouts.
Exactly. It's something that, and what's really neat about this is something you can do at home. This is not some magical elixir that I'm coming up with. Now what we do is we serve this chilled. So this is something you can do in the morning, the day before, have it in the refrigerator, mix it, and now if you notice, I've literally coated the tuna that rare. We let that sit, turn off the world famous fire here, and then what we're going to do is once this chills, I slice it into nice and rare, and we give about 4 ounces of the tuna on top of the salad, and that's what I like to offer to our guests. So what we do is we take this.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And this isn't, like I tell people, this isn't your typical stadium food.
Not at all.
But what we're finding is people do enjoy good food.
Quality ingredients.
Right. And it's not a small portion. I mean, it's a
Exactly.
nice sized portion.
And then a little bit of toasted coconut and toasted almonds, and that's something that we're serving currently right here in that's our Asian
beautiful.
salad, and that ties in. And what you can see, along with working with Eat Fit NOLA, is we're going to be introducing a lot of these new menu items throughout the concourse on the 100 level and on the 200 level. And this is where Molly's going to jump in. We have, everybody's spinach and artichoke dip. Well, we have a healthy version of spinach and artichoke dip. We're doing a chicken wrap sandwich, because in the Market Fresh stand, we're making homemade bagels. I know they're not healthy, but they're really good. But we're also we're going to offer a chicken salad sandwich made with a whole wheat wrap. Again, there's that alternative, so you have something different. This is one that we're kind of excited about. Traditional is a barbecue shrimp and grits.
Beautiful
barbecue. We've taken it to a level where barbecue shrimp with cauliflower grits. And again, there's a twist on it. And everybody likes sliders, barbecue. Well, we've got chicken sliders with a special coleslaw, with an apple vinaigrette. Again, just something that people can relate to, but it's got a healthier twist to it.
And where are you getting some of these products from?
So these are all, our team, our Eat Fit NOLA team, worked with Chef Lenny and first kind of said, okay, what are we going to bring in that doesn't feel like you're eating diet food? It looks like the food that everybody else is. However, a lot of the ingredients aren't. So when you look at wraps, when you look at buns, they're not really whole grain, they just kind of look like it. So to keep things truly 100% healthy, we use these wraps are Holanola. It's a local New Orleans company, 100% whole grain wraps. And we use the chicken salad inside. The buns are actually from a bakery out in Kenner called Cortez's Bakery. And he will make these smaller scale slider buns. Chef Lenny said, okay, I'd really like 3 sliders. So we had a lean shredded chicken in here that we knew we were going to be able to do a good shredded chicken slider. 2 fit calorie-wise, but when we needed 3, we had to shrink the size of those buns. Okay, he can adjust that. The slaw that we did in here, Swags helped us by making the vinaigrette. So it's an apple cider vinaigrette, super low sodium, so that really the only salt coming from here is from the shredded chicken and the buns. He mentioned the spinach and artichoke dip. So the way that that's good for us is we think, oh, cheesy, rich, you know, the but here is that we did it with Greek yogurt. So again, Swags, our partner, makes these things according to our recipes with our specifications and our nutritional input, but we don't have the scale to produce it to be able to, you know, give it to Chef Lenny's team. So it's kind of this trio of a partnership that's made it possible to take our nutritional ideas, bring them to scale, and sell them with Chef Lenny's team.
Now, this looks like some incredible
There we
chocolate
go.
pudding
You
over here.
You can't have a dessert without chocolate, and chocolate is good for
This
you.
is the neatest thing ever. So what this is a high-protein chocolate mousse.
Wow.
If we had not told you that and you just tried it, you would just think it's chocolate mousse. High protein, 0 added sugar. A serving of that has about 20 grams of protein, about what you get in a 3-ounce chicken breast. But again, when you're having something like that, my husband said, chocolate mousse in the Superdome, and I was like, your aunt would give her right arm for chocolate in like the 4th quarter. And so I think that these are things that are interesting, they're different, they're still full of flavor, they don't look diety. Every ingredient, though, between Chef Lenny and I has been thought through very closely. Nothing's by chance. There's a reason we chose pretty much every ingredient that's going into each of these dishes.
Well, this yummy looking fruit.
The fruit parfait,
Yes.
same thing with the Greek yogurt. There's the fresh, but even the granola, we use the hemp granola, which is a natural. Which again, it's just changing our thought process. And there's products out there now that, and I'm learning a lot. That's what's exciting is I'm learning as well. This is pretty good.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
And again, you had said that this is on the 100 and 200. Like, I don't have to have a sweet ticket.
Exactly.
I'm not going to be excluded from this beautiful food.
So we have a cart that's going to be in section 147, and when we say a cart, it's a giant thing, but that's going to be in section 147, and then on the second level, the club level, it's not in the club section though, you don't have to have your swipe card. There will be 2 concession stands branded as Eat Fit NOLA and selling really the majority of this, and so pretty much wherever your seats are in the Superdome, you can access this. So we're starting with 3 concession areas, which we're really excited about. And again, available to
And
everyone.
hopefully we expand as it gets popular.
Yes.
You know, we'll go up to the 500 level and get up there. But that's the thing is we want to open this up, and I think it's going to be exciting. And we also have Eat Fit NOLA menu options for our suite holders. So it's throughout the stadium.
And this is going to be available at which game?
Starting the regular season
Our
game.
first game against Tampa Bay.
September 20th.
September 20th, yes.
Awesome. I mean, this is absolutely beautiful, and the audience could smell it. It smells absolutely delicious. So thank you both for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And game day food will never be the same. Join us next time for another great Eat Fit NOLA cooking segment. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Community Health Heroes.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to suggest a health topic, send us information on your health organization's events, or recommend your favorite Eat Fit NOLA restaurant, please visit our Facebook page or email us at communityhealthheroes@gmail.com or visit our website at www.communityhealthheroes.org. You can also find our show or particular interview segments on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and type in Community Health Heroes. We hope that the information we provided today will help you and your family live healthier and happier lives. I'm Dr. Penny Walker. Join us next time for Community Health Heroes.